I got the flow. I'm about to pull up. It's wishful kindness. And I've been waiting so long. Now I gotta resurface. And everybody talks stop. All the bread and we burn it. Cause I've been feeling cool time. I've been fucking cool time. Turn up.
Welcome back, guys. Another week of Mid-State Sports Corner. This is the second episode of the week. It's our first week of doing 2 episodes. We are now doing drops on Wednesday and Friday. Now that football is back in full swing, we got college football just started back up, and now NFL is starting up. Per our recording on Wednesday the 4th, starting up tomorrow night on Thursday the 5th, with Chiefs and Ravens is week 1 matchup, big week 1 matchup. But welcome back to another week, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, welcome. We're super excited. Happy to be able to do this twice a week now.
Yeah, here we go. And we got a lot of sports coming in. Hockey's right around the corner. Baseball playoffs are coming. Basketball's coming. So we got a full plate coming. So I hope you guys tune in. Hope you guys actually enjoy listening to us and want to hear what we talk about. As long as we don't go 0-2 like Florida State, I think we'll be just fine.
Man, too soon. Although I will tell you, Boston College absolutely dominated the hell out of Florida State to the point where you're almost confident now that it wasn't a fluke game in week 1. It's now to the point where you're like, I don't think Florida State's what they were last year. And, obviously. And I think that, it definitely, for some odd reason, seems to stem around ukulele, as you call them, right? Like,
Yeah.
he just, he had a very good rating coming out of high school, but he just has not really had a ton of success in college, even at Clemson. Oregon State, he had a little more success, I guess you could say, but wasn't a ton. So I don't really know what the move is for them going forward, but they kind of had their eggs all in one basket, and to start off 0-2, that's a pretty tough way to sneak into the playoffs this year with the expanded playoffs. It's a tough one.
It's just a tough look, obviously, with how last year ended. They had, people say the snub of the college football playoffs, going undefeated, winning your conference, and then getting snubbed, which it definitely was a snub. Don't get me wrong, it definitely was. But, and then you get, obviously, half your team doesn't play in your bowl game because half went to the draft, half was just pissed off about the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then you jump in week 0 and week 1 of college football and lay an egg. You go all the way to Ireland and lose on a last-second field goal to Georgia Tech. And then you come back home and your home opener, and Boston College slapped you around all game.
Yeah, and they made it look easy, too.
Yeah, and DJ, I don't know how to say his last name, so ukulele.
Yeah.
He didn't look good either. He definitely did not look good. So it's a tough look. The attitude is, as long as we don't go Florida State, I think we'll do just fine.
Well, we've already started better than that, so I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
We're 1-0. That's a better start than Florida State. So
I was just talking about us personally. As long as we don't go full Florida State, we'll be fine.
That's true. Yeah, I think we'll be okay. What do you think? What do you think the Lions are going to do this weekend?
Yes, the Lions start off. They got the prime time Sunday night football game against the Rams, so it is a wild card matchup rematch. So that's actually their first couple of weeks. They have playoff rematches, and then they get Niners at the end of the season. So they replay their playoff schedule from last year this year again. So, and I was looking at their schedule earlier today. I think that they have 6 primetime games this year, with the possibility of a 7th with that last week against Minnesota that possibly reflects into something if it means something. So, and then they obviously got quite a few mid-afternoon games, which is usually the Fox game of the week.
Yep.
So usually we're used to seeing them at 1:00 every Sunday, but now you're up. So now we're going to see them on Thursdays, Mondays, Sunday night. It's a new wave of Lions football, and I couldn't be happier.
It's pretty impressive. What a turnaround in the last couple of years, right? Like you mentioned, we were always, the least favorable games for people to watch, and typically would get. I remember there was a couple of years we didn't get any primetime games, and rightfully so. We were a bad team, but I think they look at 5 or 6 now, right? I think it is this year. It's something pretty incredible. So to be able to be in that national spotlight right out of the gate is, it's pretty awesome. And credit to, we talked about this a million times. Sheila, Brad, Dan Campbell. Who is a hell of a waiter now, as we've seen on the commercial.
Yeah.
credit to them and the culture they've built. And I know we've seen some rumblings about, players whose agents are asking if
Yeah, I
Detroit
was
is
gonna bring
called,
that up. Yep.
which is really impressive because, I mean, they were having to pay guys 10, 20, $30 million over normal market value because nobody wanted to come here. And like I said, rightfully so. I mean, there wasn't anything to play for, but it's really awesome to see the turnaround this team's had.
So overall, how do you like the new jerseys? How do you feel about them?
I like it, personally. I like the matte black. If that's, I'd say that's probably my favorite part, to be honest with you. The old logo is pretty cool. But I just like that matte black look. It's really that dull, but like, it seems a little bit tougher almost, right? Like, not that they really need that. I mean, they play that way, but yeah, the new unis are pretty sweet.
Well, you see a lot of teams all over, like all through all four major sports, that they're starting to go back to that throwback look of how they
Yep.
had like back in the 80s and 90s and such. Like you see in the NHL, you've been seeing in the NBA, now you're seeing it in the NFL as well, because Seattle's even doing it as well.
Right.
And then, I guess the Lions, obviously they have that new look where it brings in kind of that 90s look a little bit, but it's like more updated, like newer color in a way, where it's like that electric blue. I mean, it's not so much Honolulu blue; it's kind of like an electric blue look. So it is a good look. So obviously a whole new season. So we'll see what happens. I'm very excited to see him. So we're gonna run through a little bit of how the Lions stack up Week 1 against the Rams on Sunday night. So we'll go through a little injury report, and we'll go through a couple of the key games that they're going to have throughout the year. Then we'll jump into some NFL as well. So let's just jump right into NFL to start it off. So obviously tomorrow night, Thursday the 5th, is going to be the first game, and I feel like they play the first game of the year every year, the damn Kansas City Chiefs. But a good matchup against Baltimore. I think that was the AFC. It's an AFC Championship rematch. Baltimore's got a new look. Derrick Henry in the backfield with Lamar Jackson. So
Impressive there.
Zay Flowers is over there. So I've always liked Baltimore. I've always thought they would be the team that could take down Kansas City, but obviously they failed it a few times. So, but that's a good week, good start to the season. And then Friday, down in Brazil, you got Green Bay and Philly, which is a very good game, but just
Ridiculous.
yeah, do you like these kind of just, like, I understand growing the game and stuff, but going to these countries, so like Brazil, and then you had Bucks out to Florida State over in Ireland, and then there's
Yeah.
always they always have a London game as well, the NFL.
Well, I mean, as a fan, I think it's an interesting experience. I don't think it should be part of the regular season schedule. I think if anything, you do a preseason game there maybe, and allow some of these guys that maybe don't get to make NFL rosters, or maybe the guys that are fighting for jobs, like they're going to be the ones, honestly, to appreciate that more. I mean, you're not going to have somebody like, like, I don't know, I say this because it's easy, Matt Stafford, or somebody that's been in the league for a long time, right? Like Tom Brady's of the world and Devontae Adams, like those kind of guys have been playing for a long time. I don't know that they really care to go to these countries and play a football game. And what really bothers them is it counts as one of their home games. Like, to me, that sucks. And their schedule's messed up. And I remember Steve saying this, fully saying this on one of our previous episodes, but he didn't appreciate doing any of that, especially on like Thanksgiving and holidays and stuff. But I can't imagine the schedule gets any lighter or easier when you do that. And obviously you're coming back and it's probably a late flight and jet lag. And I mean, all your whole schedule is screwed up. And for what? I mean, I've heard some rumors that some of these players were not willing to stay in the hotels, or they weren't going to leave their hotels because, all the violence and stuff going on around them. It doesn't sound extremely safe. No, they're not bringing their families. Like, what else is the point then? I mean, I other than for TV, like, they can't share this experience with their family. I mean, to me, that seems a little crazy.
It's a big money grab for the NFL.
For sure it is.
It's a big money grab.
Yeah.
And I guess it might bring money to those areas that they play it in. So, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it.
We're not the world's ambassador.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it, of course. And the NHL, they do that global series as well. I think the NHL does it right.
I was going to say they do it much better than the NFL does.
Because they do, when you go over there, but obviously the NHL is way different than the NFL as far as how games get scheduled. Right. But they go over there and they do like a showcase series.
Right.
And then they just come home. And
it's teams or countries that really appreciate having hockey there.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Do we know if Brazil wants American football? Probably not.
NHL is a very international sport. NFL, not so much. Right. And the NBA is getting more international as well. So I could see the NBA kind of benefiting from doing something like that because Europe is growing at the NBA level as well. So, but I don't know. I've never really understood why NFL does it. But I mean,
Yeah,
to each
well, like
their
I said,
own.
I think it's a cash grab. I
Oh,
think,
it's 1,000%.
and Goodell's done some good things, with the NFL and love him or hate him. But, one thing he has done is grown the game and the revenue is out of hand, right? Which is good for all the teams. But some of this stuff to me, I don't know. Like I said, I just feel like there's better ways to use this.
You have a prediction as far as who to look out for in the AFC this coming year?
Who to look out for in the AFC? I mean, interesting enough, I think Houston's a team that's going to do some damage.
Yeah, had a good year last year.
They really did, and I'm not a Stroud guy only because of the Ohio State connection. Otherwise, I know he's a pretty good quarterback. But they really did really well, and I don't think they've done anything to hurt that. I think Ryan is the real deal as far as the head coach goes. They've got Davis Mills as a solid backup. I mean, it's not like he was the guy, but like he would be definitely a serviceable backup. The defense has played better. They've had some high draft picks, as you remember. So I really look for them to make some waves and get into the playoffs and get in the playoffs easily.
You got to remember the Bengals were just in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and obviously Burrow was out majority of the year last year, so they had that little bit of a down year. But I think they did finish 500 or one over or something like that. So Burrow's back, pending obviously Jamar Chase actually plays, given this contract dispute now. You better play. You're my starting wide receiver in my fantasy.
Wouldn't have done that.
What do you mean? How would you not take Jamar Chase? Come on.
If you don't know what he's doing.
Well, that's on him. But I obviously just watch out for the Bengals. Obviously, the Ravens are always up there as well.
Right.
And then you got the Chiefs, as always. I'd say those four teams, Houston, Kansas City, Baltimore, and Cincinnati. I think those would be the four that I would say would be guaranteed a playoff spot. Not necessarily guaranteed, but good chance. Other than that, I don't really.
Colts aren't going to do anything.
Buffalo, maybe.
Buffalo's not going to do anything. Buffalo missed the playoffs.
You think Buffalo missed the playoffs?
Yeah, I do. I think Buffalo missed the playoffs.
But look at the division they're in. They do have Miami in the division.
I'm not confident Buffalo does it this year. I mean, they've been hanging around that, I don't even want to say good to great conversation because they haven't been great. They've been in that, they're a playoff team, but not a great playoff team. And they've lost, like I said, same thing I just said with Cincinnati. Like, they've lost some depth. And, the roster's getting expensive and it's aging. And, that stuff starts to matter, especially come playoff time or the end of the season. And that attrition has taken place. And I personally don't see them as playoff team.
I mean, you might be honest. They did lose Stephon Diggs,
Micah Hyde.
So, but they did pick up Keon Coleman in the draft from Florida State, who I guess is probably their plan to replace Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a couple years.
Houston, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Houston just loaded up because they have Nico Collins there, who had a nice little breakout year last year.
Yep.
And now you bring Stephon Diggs into the matter. Yep. That's a good 1-2 punch right
and
there.
And they got Tank Dell, you know what I mean? So, they've got some pieces there that really can do some damage.
Yeah. So, I'd like to see Houston be a little bit of a sleeper pick. Come out.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of were last year. Came out of nowhere. I'd like to see them fly under the radar a little bit because everyone's going to be, the Chiefs, Baltimore.
Be better than Cleveland, that's for sure.
Cleveland. They snuck in last year, but Houston gave them that whooping in the wild card. So
well deserved.
And then we'll just we'll jump over to NFC. So
who are your playoff teams for the NFC this year?
NFC. So obviously San Francisco will be in the West. I don't really think anyone else from the NFC West, aside from the Rams, that could sneak in.
Wild card or something.
Yeah, I would say the Rams would be a wild card team. Then you go NFC South. I only see one team come out of there, and that'd be Tampa.
Yeah, it's toss up there.
Tampa or New Orleans.
Yeah.
And then
I don't think New Orleans doing much. They're Dennis Allen. That's souring on the locker room.
And Derek Carr's the quarterback.
Right.
And then you got NFC East. Dallas is always there, but Philly loaded up pretty good in the offseason, so that'll be a good battle there between those two. But I do see Philly taking that one. Mm-hmm. And then comes to NFC North, where it looks like it's going to be a 1-2 battle between Green Bay and Detroit. The Bears definitely did have a good offseason, but I still think they're a little bit away. They're a little bit away. And then obviously Minnesota's got to run. They got to have Sam Darnold under center. this year instead of McCarthy.
Right.
So
That thing.
and then they did lose. They still have Justin Jefferson, but they did pick up Aaron Jones
Yep.
from
They did
Green
do
Bay.
that.
So
Yep.
I no bias whatsoever. I think the Lions do take it because of just the overall skill level over their team. I think they're way deeper than anyone else.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
they're a little bit, as weird as this is to say, they're a little bit more proven than the other three teams as
Yeah, it's
far
pretty
as
wild.
the roster and longevity. Because you saw what they did last year and how far they went, and they only got better this year. So I believe Lions could take that. So my division winners would be Niners, Eagles, Bucks, and Lions. So pretty much what happened last year as far as
Lions
division
and
winners
Niners.
go. And then two wild card teams, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be between Saints, Cowboys,
Rams.
Packers, and Rams.
Yeah. So who's in the NFC Championship game? Is it Niners and Lions again?
It
gonna bet
pains
against
me.
the Chiefs?
It pains me to say this. No, it pains me to say this. I definitely do see them in there. But I would love to see Texans. I would love to see Chiefs Texans.
I agree.
Love to see Chiefs Texans.
I agree.
And to see a rematch.
It pains me to hear it. I don't know
Yeah.
if it pains you to say it, but it pains me
It
to hear
all pains me to say it because I definitely do think the Lions.
I know you
have a
won't be
chance.
interviewing Dan when we go talk to him, that's for sure.
But I
Yeah, it's hard to bet against them, but it's
they're
your
just
team.
so damn good.
They are good. I'm going to tell you this. I think it's going to come down to, and just call me crazy, but I think it's going to be Ravens and Lions.
Ravens,
Ravens and Lions.
really?
Yep.
I would love to see the Ravens finally take that step.
I'm just saying that it could be, obviously
Finally.
it could be completely off basis, obviously, but why not, right? Like, that'd be a hell of a Super Bowl, I would think.
Who knows? But
Yeah.
I would love to see the Lions get there. They definitely do have a chance to get there. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
They definitely do have a chance to get there.
They're good.
They are very, very good.
They got a
But
ton of depth.
It's just there is a little bit of a buzzsaw in the NFC where I just named eight teams that can make the playoffs, but only 6 get so. Think of
Well,
it that way.
Yeah. I mean,
It's just like the Red Wings in the Atlantic Division.
Yeah.
They got to go through 4 teams just to
Gauntlet.
even get there.
gauntlet.
Like they got to go through Boston, Toronto, Tampa, and
Yeah.
Florida just in the division. I said that last year, and then they went on that
I
crazy ass
know.
run.
I felt the same way. Yeah, and as far as the Lions season goes, I mean, I don't know that you can expect them to win many more games than they won last year. Like maybe 1 or 2, right? Like that's probably top. They're not going to go undefeated. It's not going to happen. They're going to have some slip ups, and hell, it could come, 2 or 3 weeks in a row, even, right? Like you could see a little slump or something. Like the Lions season, to be successful, they have to make the playoffs, obviously. And that's crazy that that's the expectation now.
If they don't make the playoffs, then there's something wrong. We're going to take a quick moment here to honor our sponsors of today's episode. So we're going to start with Crystal Fieldhouse over in Burton, Michigan. It is our home of Beer League Sundays. If you ever want to do a birthday party, you want to do some public skates, some stick and puck, join an adult hockey league, get into some youth hockey league, or do some figure skating, go see Crystal Fieldhouse in Burton, Michigan. We thank you to Michelle for sponsoring us this coming year, and look for our smiling faces on some banners on both rinks this year.
Thank you to FiberLink Communications in Lapeer, Chad, Debbie, Tina, Joel, and the rest of the crew. Thank you so much. For Properties, Marco, Marissa, Martino, thank you so much for all your support. DCC Construction, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. And also Winged Helmet Media, thank you, Chris, for being a part of this, man, and we're really looking forward to doing some things with you in the future. So, thank you all. Yeah, but I don't think they get rid of what they've built either. I don't think. But I agree with you. Something would be a little wrong. Like it'd have to be like Goff goes down, Sewell goes down, right? Like you lose one of your running backs, maybe you lose Hutch or something. Like you'd really have to have a pretty damn crazy season to miss the playoff, I think.
With that roster, yeah. Like crazy stuff would have to happen. So, when, like you said, injuries, I would agree. Injuries would be the killer of this season. Which, I mean, that sounds so generic. It's such a generic take, but it truly is.
Yeah.
Because you think like if Patrick Mahomes goes down, you think the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs without him?
No.
Exactly.
And they don't have Henny anymore either. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the truth. I mean, he played good ball for him.
So, but yeah, I don't. But the Lions, you got a tough schedule. So of the teams that I just kind of mentioned, I would see as playoff teams.
Yep.
So Rams, Bucks, Dallas. Let's see, Green Bay, Houston, Green Bay, obviously Green Bay twice, Buffalo, and then San Fran. So they do meet quite a few good teams that. I mean, it will be a good stepping stone for them if they were to get through some of these games, and then it would set them up.
What's
very
your
nicely.
what's your record prediction? What do you see them doing?
Let me run
year?
this.
11-6.
Let me run this. Hold down.
Okay.
I do think they win Sunday night,
I do. I agree with that.
and I do think they beat the Bucks again. I do
Yeah.
think obviously they go to Arizona. They should take care of Arizona well.
I hope so.
But a thorn in the Lions' side last 2 years has been Seattle, and Seattle comes to town again for a Monday night game. I think that could be one of those games because if for some reason it's happened the last 2 years.
I don't know. The worst one was the home game we played 2 years ago. That was
Seattle
awful.
comes to town twice in the last 2 years. So this is gonna be the third straight year Seattle comes to Detroit. But last year was
on the schedule.
Yeah, last year was the one that was just kind of like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
But that was the game I
one of
think
the
got
worst games
through
of the
2
year.
pick sixes and such. So
They just had a bad game. It was one
And
of the worst
then,
games of the season.
they go to Dallas, shocker, because Dallas doesn't like to travel.
We got to go to them this year, right?
So
Yeah.
I
Ridiculous.
I mean, that's a toss-up game, being in Dallas as always.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota should be a win. Tennessee should be a win. In Green Bay, toss-up game. In Houston, Sunday night game, toss-up game. Jacksonville should win. Indianapolis should win. Chicago should win. At home against Green Bay, I would say should win.
Okay.
And then
Do you think you split the Green Bay game?
I would say it's a Green Bay split.
Okay.
And then you got Buffalo.
Should win that game.
Should. Chicago again should sweep Chicago. Depending how the season's going, then that brings us to a Monday night matchup against San Francisco. So depending how the season's going, yeah. Florida would be 9-8, I guess. Peak obviously would be like 13-4. Yeah. 13-4.
I think their floor is 10-7, personally. I think you're right. I think 13-4 is the ceiling. There's a lot of teams in there that they can beat now that a couple years ago you would have said absolutely not. The only teams you could maybe say you could beat was like maybe Chicago, maybe, right? Like it was just, it was a lot different then, but the schedule is pretty favorable overall, I would say, for the Lions as far as, how they match up, right? Like time wise and stuff, but I don't know if JJ McCarthy plays for Minnesota this year, if it's a gimme on both teams. I know that sounds crazy to say for a rookie, but like he looked really good in preseason.
You do know he's out for the year, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So like if he was playing, like I don't know that you could write off Minnesota as 2 wins. I'm saying that maybe we split the game
with that
because JJ looked good. He really did, and for all the knock that he's gotten on him lately, or I guess even towards the end of last season, he's a game manager. He passes the ball off, like whatever. It doesn't matter. He's a winner. That's what I say, and I think that's what he is. And so I think that he plays, and I think it might be a slightly tougher matchup because Darnold doesn't scare me a bit. I mean, I got to tell you get in there in his face a couple times, and Darnold's going to be Sam Darnold of the past. Right?
Sam Darnold hasn't had the most decorated NFL career.
No.
I mean, he was supposed to be a pretty good quarterback, but he's definitely hasn't had the best.
Terrible.
He hasn't had the best career. That's for sure.
USC.
Yeah, USC. But damn, did that USC quarterback look good the other night? We touched on it.
He did.
We did touch on it a little bit.
It's going to be a tough matchup for us.
Yes, we did. We did touch on it. Yeah, that USC did look very, very good. So, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. We'll jump in. So, did you give me your AFC and NFC predictions as far as AFC Championship, NFC Championship?
No.
You just asked me. So now it's your turn.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you that.
How much different?
Not really. I mean, I'm other than I think Baltimore is going and I think Detroit's going.
Okay.
But I think it's Detroit and San Fran in the NFC Championship.
I really don't see San Fran not being there, if that makes sense.
They're too damn good.
They have too many good pieces, man.
But Trent Williams getting older, and they just signed him a 3-year extension that kept him happy. Ayuk obviously got his deal, but like, what a big piece of cap sorcery that they were able to pull off. Because I don't know if you saw this after the restructuring of Deebo Samuel's deals, re-signing Trent Williams to another 3 years. They guaranteed like another $8 million for him. So I think his deal's like 3 year 85 or something crazy. After restructuring, signing Trent Williams and signing Ayuk, they still have $60 million in cap space and like $50 million for next year.
How?
Incredible. That's what I'm saying.
When
Like,
you have McCaffrey, well, you're paying Purdy less than $1 million.
that's why. And so now that's exactly what they said is like, now that Purdy deal doesn't look so bad. You know what I mean? Because they're going to eat up, 40, 50 right there, as you can imagine.
A thought just occurred in my head here.
Yeah.
Purdy had a good year last year.
Yeah.
And that contributes to their success, obviously.
Right.
Who's to say he comes out and lays an egg this year? It changes the dynamic of Stanford pretty good because he can't get those athletes the ball.
Yeah.
Because, like Deebo Samuel, like Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, like George Kittle. Purdy has a rough season.
I've been a big proponent of Kyle Shanahan, and I think that he would find a way to get Purdy involved differently or find a way to get those guys involved differently. And so, he might come out and have a lesser season. I don't know if it doesn't put him in the playoffs. I don't know if it doesn't even put him in the NFC. Like, tell me you couldn't win with McCaffrey, Ayuk, Samuel, Kid, like all of those guys we just mentioned. Like, you're telling me if Purdy has a bad couple games, like they still couldn't find a way to put the team on their back? Like, I think they could. Granted, quarterback play is the most important, but like, I don't know. I feel like Shanahan will get creative. But you're right. I think it really is. It comes down to the same thing a lot of teams deal with. If their starter goes down, what next? You know what I mean? And that's how far away they are or close they are to failing, just like any other team.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it's going to be an exciting NFL season. I can't believe it's already back. Yeah. It feels like just yesterday I was very, very sad in the bar watching the Lions lose the NFC Championship game. And then, honestly, it made the Super Bowl kind of a little unenjoyable to watch. But
I don't know.
It feels like that was just yesterday, and also just feels like yesterday watching Michigan win the national championship the other day because they all go coincide with each other. But it's crazy that it's here. Like we're at the point where all sports are going to be playing at one time very, very soon.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, we're going to be down at some of these too, and as we mentioned on our show earlier this week, we are stationed up at Michigan Stadium in Pioneer parking lot for all Michigan home games. And we plan to be down at some of the Lions games, Red Wings games, Firebird games, stuff like that too. So definitely stay tuned, guys, because we're excited as the season gets busier. So are we. As much as as much sleep as we already get, I cannot wait to cut a little bit of that out so we can work a little more for sure.
So I did notice today, actually, a report came out where we're going to be set up in Pioneer parking lot. We're actually going to be next to Big Noon Kickoff, not Game Day. Game Day somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Big Noon Kickoff on Fox will be right next to us.
Okay.
And then the Barstool football show will also be there. Mm-hmm. I don't know where they're stationed, but so all three major pregame shows are going to be there.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get a piece of that, right? I mean, even if we can pop in and say hey or what, get somebody to shout out, I think that'd be cool to be able to be a part of that for sure.
We'll just put your 6'3" son in the crowd with our sign.
That's the plan. Mitten State.
So if someone's watching and they see the sign, please get a screen grab and send it to us.
If I'll tell you this right now, if somebody gets a screen grab of that, first one to send it to me, I will send you some merchandise. Right, right out of the. I mean, we can talk about it after that. Like, you want a hoodie, you want whatever. I'll send you something because I need it. You got to have it. Because I think that ramen noodle freaking broccoli haircut these kids got nowadays. And you're going to see that with our sign in the background. It's going to be pretty awesome.
So, cool things coming. Sports are back. Everyone's happy now. The leaves are changing. Season's changing. So, everyone's getting back to that kind of even though summer's fun, everyone's kind of like, there's no sports going on. Great.
Not true.
No. So,
speaking of that, though, I mean, have you caught wind of the Detroit Tigers lately?
Google Cy Young.
He's been the best pitcher in the American League, if not in baseball this year. And he leads in several categories. And, it's amazing. The Tigers don't really have a rotation. After the trade deadline, they had 2 starters. And they've pieced together some starts and stuff with some call-ups and whatnot. But the biggest thing has been the youth movement. Colt Keith has been really good. And Scooble's not he's not a spring chicken, but he's not old. He's still in his late 20s. But then you've got even like Beerling's done really well.
Torque has been playing
Torque
better
has played better
since
finally.
he came back up.
Riley Green obviously has been pretty steady in there. And it's just been a really nice sight to see McKinstry, that utility guy that he's always been. Like, he may not provide a ton of offense, but he provides a lot of other things and intangibles that you can't teach always. So call it for what it is. Is it a result of what Avila has done for all the years, and now we're just seeing it, or is it the way that Scott Harris runs the organization now? Some of the analytics coming into play. I tend to agree with the latter, but make no mistake about it. I mean, a lot of these guys are guys that Avila drafted, and whether you love him or hate him, he was able to put some guys in the pipeline. But where I'm still concerned with the Tigers is all the pitching prospects they had. I mean, if you remember a couple years ago, they were talking about Tigers got 6 or 7 bona fide starters coming up, and like they've got one now. Like Casey Mize has been hurt, right? Like Manning has been hurt, Olson has been hurt, Brisky is in the bullpen now, Faedo has been up and down. Like, you got all these guys that were either highly touted or really worked their way up into the system, into the prospect rankings, and for one reason or another, and it seems injuries mostly, they haven't made their way to the major leagues, and yet here the Tigers are. They're a couple games above 500, honestly playing their first meaningful baseball in September in like what feels like a decade. And even if they don't make the playoffs this year, like, honestly, I'm just excited to see them actually have something to play for this time of year, and I think that it's going to bode well for the kids going forward. I think that the amount of experience that you gain from what it's like a pennant race, right? Like, essentially what it is. It's gonna push them to new heights in the next couple of seasons, and I really am excited to see that.
Well, one comparison I made when we were just talking before we even started recording here, they're very much having a Red Wings season where they're very up and down. They are having good stretches, bad stretches, good stretches, bad stretches, and nothing in between.
Yeah.
And that was the Red Wings last year where they were doing that. But and then to add to your like youth movement like take there, it's very much a thing. And you draft these guys and they can ball. You just gotta give them a shot.
Yep.
And you see that, and you've seen it in the Red Wings system as well. You got like Lucas Freeman, Mo Sider, Simon Edmondson, Bergeron. These guys can play. You just got to give them the shot to play and show what they can do. Like, they can only do so much in these farm systems to try and just work themselves up and everything. But it's going to come to a time where you actually got to let them play and let them actually show what they can do. And here we are, and I think it's working out because these guys come up and they have the attitude of like, I got something to prove here, so they work their damn ass off.
Well, yeah, there's nothing worse, and regardless of what sport it is, there's nothing worse than watching somebody get called up, a highly touted guy or somebody you know is going to make an impact or think they are. And, and for them to come up and they play like 1 or 2 games, they lay an egg in their first game because of jitters, they're 20 years old, they're on the big stage, right? And then they get demoted. And it's like, what you've done to that athlete. Like, that athlete is now scarred for 3 to 6 months.
And that's what the Red Wings did to Bergen.
It's terrible. And like, I do appreciate, and I know there's some fans out there that have called for Hinch's head, in recent seasons. I mean, personally, I like the buttons that he's pushed. I mean, quite frankly, he has not had a ton of talent to work with, and now that he has some kind of talent, now you can get strategies together. Now you can pinch hit for guys. You can put pitchers in to face a certain group. Like, you have options now, and where we have not had options before. And granted, we're not a World Series contending team yet. We won't be for a couple of years. Just to be able to be in it this late, like I said, is really awesome. But the biggest thing that I can say more than anything else is, is the Tigers fans have been patient for a decade, and I know they want a winner, but like we shouldn't have to wait much longer. Like, these kids are close, and I do appreciate Hinch giving a lot of these guys, like, they can go out and have a week where they bat 100, right, and they're back out there the next day. And they figure it out after that. And then they go and blast 2-run homer, 3-run homer. I mean, same thing, like, kudos to Torque for going down to the minor league, taking it like a man, right? And like coming up and playing good ball. Because a lot of guys would have sulked themselves and you've never seen them again.
So they are currently sitting 4.5 out of the last wild card spot. The only problem is they are chasing 2 division teams.
Right.
with the Twins and the Royals because
Right.
the Yankees got a nice, comfortable lead. They'll be just fine. So yeah, the Tigers they're chasing the Royals and the Twins. So you got some divisional opponents here, and
How many games they got against each other?
that's where I was going to go with it next for sure. Because usually towards the end of the year, that is who they usually play towards the end of the year is division rivals.
Right.
So you definitely could have some head-to-head matchups here, and if they keep going on this streak here, and they end up having to play obviously the Royals and the Twins quite a bit down the stretch, man, they
Right.
could very well put themselves in this thing. Yeah, sorry, I just caught a glimpse of of the AL Central standings. You got three really good teams, and there's the White Sox.
The White Sox, did
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
and I don't know if you saw this, but the White Sox are 5-50 in their last 55 games.
Okay.
It is the worst stretch in like Major League history.
Yeah, really,
And I don't know if that's exactly like, but I do remember seeing something recently like it's bad. And like we know it's bad. What are they, 31 and like
31 and 109.
Oh,
I
it's
think is what
horrible.
it is.
But if you remember prior
This is gonna be the
to
worst team ever.
Cabrera and Dontrell Willis and stuff getting pulled over here, you know, early on the Tigers, Dombrowski's
with
tenure, they were
Ozzie
terrible.
Guillen, they were really good.
Yeah, but the Tigers were terrible.
Yeah.
And they were like 30 or 40 and 120 or something. Like they were
Yep.
they were terrible.
That's how they got
But-
Verlander, I believe.
But yeah, but they can you can turn that stuff around pretty quick,
Yeah.
you know. So
So look at the schedule here. They only have actually one more series against either the Twins or the Royals, and it's against the Royals, and it's later this month, in the mid of this month. So, but they do end the season with a 3-game series against the White Sox. So, provided they they actually need it, like three more games at the end of the year, there's a good thing for you. But they do play Baltimore twice.
Yep.
So that's a tough blow because Baltimore is pretty good. But Tampa Bay, let's see, we're over in San Diego at the moment. Get the A's and the Rockies coming in.
well, I mean, obviously, how many games did you say they got left?
Yeah, that number I don't know off the top of my head.
So, you know, say they got 20 games left. It's like, what's their record right now? Did you say
1/5, so
70 and
75 and 74, I think is what it was.
70?
Yeah, it's
No, it can't be that far.
70 and 69, my bad.
70 and 69. So they've got 139 games in. So they've got 23 games left. You know, so I mean, you know, in that regard, I mean, you got to go 15 and 8. I think, right? I mean, I think you got to. I think you got to go 15 and 8, 16 and 7.
You got to go to 6 to 7 games above 500.
Yeah, and then that's also expecting, like you said, the Twins or the Royals to lose. You know, out of 22, 23 games, they're going to have to lose 15 of them. They're going to have to lose 16 of them. You know, and it's asking a lot, but like I said, even just to be in the hunt's awesome.
Okay. So good for the Tigers.
You sleeping over there? Or what's going on over there?
You're the one who sounds tired.
I am tired, but I'm not yawning on TV.
Who doesn't yawn? But yeah, good for the Tigers, man. Hopefully I'll ease up on you. I'll definitely ease up on you.
Okay. Wait to see how this goes.
So in the 2007-2008 Detroit Red Wings Stanley Cup season, who was their top point scorer during the regular season?
Top point getter, Zetterberg.
Well, who's second? That's it. One at 97 points.
Damn it. Yeah, well, that's okay.
Zetterberg was right there at 92. So you were close. You were close.
Well, you know what? I do promise, folks, that I will get a question right someday.
You will get one.
Someday. You
You
might
definitely
have
will.
to do like, are you smarter than a third grader questions, but you know,
thought
I
that
will
was
win.
one.
Okay, well, that's just all right. And we're going to end off with a couple things to note. So Brett is in charge of our beer league team on Sundays. Although he does it like kind of subpar, you know, we kind of rally behind him a little bit because we kind of feel bad for him. But it sounds like we've got a pretty good squad this season. And you know, like I said, we've talked about before, we've got our banners in both rinks this year, so we're really excited to have another season at Crystal Fieldhouse. You know, with Brett at the helm. I'll try to keep my goals against average below 5, if you don't mind. But other than that, I mean, I would say that, you know, just happy to be able to play another season again. Quite frankly, I mean, I don't
right
know how
around the
many
corner.
more we're going to get, and yeah, we've got that coming up soon too.
Yep.
So, you know, it's going to be busy, but I think we should fire it off with a last second trivia for Brett this week, and we should see if Brett can get a question right, because I don't know that he can.
Okay. What sport?
What sport would you prefer? I will give you a choice.
Hockey.
Hockey's not on the choice list.
Oh, come on.
No, it's too easy. For a trivia guy, that's ridiculous. Why would I give you a layup? And that's not hockey. I'm sure you knew that. I
wow,
got
good dad joke.
yeah, you're welcome. Sorry.
Well, we were talking about beer league hockey. I think you'd give me a hockey one.
Yeah, that's too much. So how about you're going to do football or baseball?
Oh, I guess I'll do football.
So the 2008 Detroit Lions went 0-16.
Yes.
Do you know who the coach was for the 0-16 season?
Rod Marinelli.
Okay. Do you know who the backup quarterback was to Matthew Stafford that season?
Stafford wasn't there that season.
Stafford was there.
That was the season that they got Stafford.
Stafford was there that season.
I'm pretty got them. Because that season they had Dante Culpepper, John Kitna, who was his name? He's on ESPN now. He ran out the back of the end zone. Orlovsky.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
that was
right.
the season they got.
Yeah, okay. I'm thinking
they got Stafford.
Yeah, okay. Because he was drafted in 09.
He was drafted first overall.
Yeah. All right. Well, you named all the quarterbacks, so you win. Nice job. That's why I don't do.
You
trivia.
thought you were going to get me.
I did. I thought so for sure, but you won both times. So now I get no more trivia. That's how you win. Other than that, you got anything else you want to touch on before we go?
No.
What anything for this weekend?
No. Obviously, we'll be down at tailgate. We'll be right next to Big Noon Kickoff in the Pioneer parking lot. Michigan, Texas on Saturday. Lions, Rams Sunday night.
Yep.
Red Wings training camp is
Coming
up and coming, I think, in the next week or two. So hopefully Eisman gets Sider and Raymond signed. So
that's getting stressful. I know we've talked about it before, but like, what's your temp level on that now?
If training camp starts and they're not signed, it's warm. It's warm.
So I'm telling you, I'm about an 8 out of 10 right now.
Yeah, if training camp definitely starts and they're not there, it's warm.
I did hear a rumbling though. I think it was on Detroit Red Wings podcast. It's on. They were talking about Sider. Sounds like he's close.
Yeah, Sider's close.
Raymond's not. I just like, is it an agent thing? Because I think both players have expressed desire to stay, but like, it's just.
I have a feeling Raymond might be asking for a nice chunk because of how his contract year went. Which good for him. Yes, he did play a great contract year
for sure.
So I think that's where the difference lies.
Okay.
Because obviously we know Eisman doesn't like to give out too much, and because it is the first contract coming out of the rookie contract, Eisman might be hesitant to give that much. Maybe that's where I could definitely see Raymond doing a bridge deal at this point and trying his luck and doing another contract year.
That sounds like an Eisman way to go about it too. I mean, honestly, just get him signed. Like, let's get him on the ice.
Yeah, let's keep it rolling.
Yeah,
let's get back in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and let's get people off Eisman's back that he's this terrible GM.
I don't think he's a terrible GM at all. Like I said, he's got a freaking mess to deal with. It's absolutely ridiculous.
But yeah, we'll wrap it up for the week. Obviously, big week. Let's go Wolverines. Let's go Lions. Let's go Tigers.
Horns down.
Yeah, horns down.
And like I said, obviously we're going to be set up there, so come sit down and come chat with us because we're going to be doing a live session while we're there. So come sit and talk sports, and we're going to hopefully have NCAA 25 there for you guys to come and play Brett on, because I'm sure you guys will be able to beat them. Like that's the thing. It's going to be now. Anyways, I appreciate y'all listening once again. I'm Brett with 1 T, the better one.
I'm Brett with 2 T's, even though people we all met last week, they said what's 1 T is weird
no,
stuff. So
that's not what happened.
Everyone we met had 2 T's.
You met 2 Bretts, and they both had 2 T's.
Yeah, exactly.
By luck.
You're outnumbered.
By luck.
You're outnumbered. But thank you guys. Y'all have a great week. Go Wolverines, go Lions.